Welcome to Greenville, North Carolina. A dramatic doubleheader wraps up tonight. UTSA a comeback win in Game 1. Roadrunners now 10 straight. East Carolina closing out the homestand. Looking to salvage Game 3 of this series where both programs very feisty through 2. It could be a really entertaining Game 3. Wrapping up a senior day here at Clark LeClaire Stadium. Thanks for joining us with the coach, Mike Mullis. I'm EvanBudrovich. Game 2 had all the fireworks in the 9th inning. How do you expect that carry that forward in Game 3?
Yeah, really different game from the first through the 9th, and the 9th was explosive. I think both teams are prideful. Both teams still seek wins. UTSA's clinched. East Carolina's playing for kind of where they're going to end up in the conference tournament. So, I expect fireworks. And
then for UTSA, great comeback in the 9th inning. What does that say about Pat Hallmark's club?
Never say die. It's been, their offense is prolific. Their desire to win. You saw the feistiness. You saw the fire within, and just a spirited club that plays to win the game.
Let's dive into some of those highlights from the 9th inning because ECU had a great lead and then 4 straight walks kickstart this rally.
Yeah, that was the story of the game and kind of what we had alluded to in earlier parts of the game that, the freebies kill you. The freebies kill you, and that's what cost the Pirates Game 1.
And then this double from one of the best hitters in the league, Mason Lytle, puts UTSA in front.
What we had just said is the pitch and changes made and struggle throwing strikes. The concern was Lytle coming in and getting off a big swing. He does just that.
Now the ejection of Coach Hallmark, who is going to coach in this Game 3. And then this is the game-winning out for Orlowski out of the pen. Now in terms of starting pitching, Braylon Owens and Bradley Zayak. Owens has been a traditional weekend starter. Zayak in and out of the rotation as both teams look to make the most of whatever arms they have left.
Yeah, Zayak started the season as a weekend starter for the Pirates, but you're right, has seen more midweek duty of late. And Braylon Owens, you see the 12 starts, clearly the more experienced of the two.
We'll step aside before Game 3 of this series. Who's got any arms left? And more importantly, who can get outs in the 9th inning? We'll find out as we wrap up the final homestand of AAC play for the Pirates and UTSA right after this. Welcome back to Greenville, North Carolina. Here's Bradley Zayak getting the start for East Carolina. Another freshman, part of this young rotation for the Pirates. He threw 3 innings at Wichita State. His season long is 4 1/3. How does he get length tonight against UTSA?
Strike one, buddy. Strike one's kind of the key to everything. Get ahead of hitters, although we've documented how aggressive these UTSA hitters can be on that first pitch. So it can't be a get-me-over kind of cookie deal. Got to be a competitive first pitch and work out in front of these Roadrunner bats.
And Mason Lytle, who delivered the game-winning hit earlier in Game 2, now hits leadoff. And now we have a pitch comm issue. Well, we have a moment. Lytle with those 80 hits now leads the American Conference. And 3 hits for all of the top 4 hitters. An aggressive weekend for Lytle and Stuckey and McClure and Tausig, who've each hit in different spots in each of these 3 games.
Yeah, Stuckey getting the night off from behind the plate. Just DH duties tonight, so that's always kind of nice for a catcher.
A UTSA offense that now is 5th in the country in batting average, up to .330 as a team. That's the challenge for Brad Zayak, who gives up first pitch contact. This is Dixon Williams at short, and his throw is late. Williams moving from second to short tonight, testing his arm.
Yeah, and that's just that's what UTSA does. They put pressure on you offensively and move Dixon to the backhand there. And nice job to get to it, but just not quite enough arm strength to get it across in time to get a really good runner in Lytle.
That's ruled an infield single, so 81 hits for Lytle. Vergara works at second, Wallace at third, and Boucher the day off for the moment.
Yeah, Zayak's a guy at times has shown really good stuff and has kind of had an up and down year, but certainly a guy that you watch as a freshman arm out there and, you know, look forward to kind of watching how he grows up and where this thing takes him.
He's rated a top 10 freshman recruit in this American Conference coming into the year. He's had some quality outings. You noted his early weekend rotation, the first handful of weeks. Just his second appearance here in May, and he'll face Andrew Stuckey, who ropes the 2-0 foul just past the Pirate pen.
And we've seen a number of that going back to Game 1 a number of times where these UTSA hitters get off super aggressive swings in plus counts and have been all over them, but just a bit foul. It's about the 3rd or 4th one we've seen today.
The 2-1 pitch with a shift on. There was a swing at the plate, so it's 2-2. Home plate umpire Michael Parnell, and then the most interesting man in the building, Rick Allen at second, anchoring the crew. He's the crew chief. There's a swing and a miss and one away.
Yeah, if you're just tuning in, maybe missed the open. In the 9th inning of the last game, it got pretty chippy between both clubs, and the only common denominator was their displeasure with the umpiring crew. So even at the lineup exchange to start Game 2 here just a few minutes ago, you could the tension was palpable, I guess, between all three. The head coach, Cliff Galvin of East Carolina, Coach Hallmark for UTSA, and the umpiring crew. So we'll see how that bears out.
Hallmark is coaching in this game. He's over at third. We'll see how that affects Hallmark throughout the week with a possible appeal. And here's the Pirate defensive lineup. Riley Johnson, all 3 games in center. That's an important sign if you're ECU. And then Dixon Williams getting the spot start at short tonight. He's played second, third, and short in his 2-year career. Pardon me, 3-year career.
Yeah, you know, we talked about in Game 1, would Riley Johnson be available for this game? But I can promise you he was not going to end his career striking out to end the last game. That he didn't want that to be the last time he was seen at Clark LeClaire Stadium for sure.
Runner moving, pitch inside, and the throw a bit late, so a stolen base for Lytle, now has 15 this year.
And I'm sure there are folks at home going, well, we play Tuesday, and you're correct, we do have a game scheduled for Tuesday here in Greenville, but the weather looks a little iffy at best. See the pitch in there from Zayak, just doesn't give Walker Barron much of a chance. Lytle's a good runner, good player.
A player who doesn't get a ton of draft conversation, but his ability, he's a great college player.
Yeah, he's a good college player, a little bit undersized guy, and plays the game hard, though, plays it the right way. Kind of, quite frankly, probably UTSA's version of Riley Johnson.
Here's the 1-2, and that skips in there. Zayak, who threw 3 innings, no earned runs at Wichita in Game 3 as part of a comeback effort for the Pirates, but they came up short in that one.
I think as I looked over the East Carolina lineup when it got sent to us, the one surprise to me, obviously Dixon Williams playing short, Boucher out, thought that might happen, but Walker Barron back behind the plate again.
That's roped to right and caught on the line. Downs tracks it, allowed second out.
But I thought Coach Galvin and staff may take this opportunity to give Walker the night off, but he's back there. See line drive and drew down a couple steps to his hand side, able to collect that one.
With Mother Nature coming tomorrow, this is Game 3, but Game 2 of the day. And here's James Tauzik after the sharp line out from Norris McClure. Tauzik's had a nice weekend. A home run yesterday. Now 3 hits in the series. He's been on 4 times. The Radford transfer making his presence felt here in San Antonio. That one's touched foul deep into the Pirate pen.
Yeah, scatters everybody down there on the bench. It's sent them running. A lot of smiles. Everybody's okay.
UTSA, who finished second in the league last year, but a disappointing 0-2 performance in the tournament, have now secured the 1 seed on the verge of 40 wins. That would set a single season wins mark here for UTSA. They've tied it earlier today. So here's the 1-2 pitch. Right back up the middle. Tauzik continues a big series. That's his 53rd RBI, and the Roadrunners strike first.
He has 2 balls we've seen today that he's just driven back through the middle. And just everything he gets his barrel on is hit really hard. Big, strong guy. 6'6", 250 roughly. We talked about it earlier, but he is he's a big unit.
This time around, UTSA scores first. The Pirates have jumped out the first 2 games of this series. And that's why UTSA is riding a 10-game win streak. Their ability to come back late has been impressive. Here's Drew Detlefson, who's held to a 1-for-8 weekend. And that's a rarity for the UTSA starting outfielder. Detlefson enters top 10 in the country in RBI, 65 runs driven in. This ball will stay in the yard. Long run for Downs and a sliding catch.
It came out.
No, it is caught. Wait, the first base umpire rules that's a catch, and then there's an out at the plate.
Yeah, we got all kinds of stuff here. I don't know that you could review. I was paying attention to the play out here. It definitely came out of Downs' glove.
And now Rick Allen's bringing everybody together. It may not matter because there's an out at the plate.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately going to be what the decision made is that it was out at the plate.
And now assistant coach Ryan Aguayo looking for an answer.
This is just a continuation of the 9th inning from the last game, Ev. Here we'll see here. I think this ball bounces out of his glove. Maybe it's on some type of an effort at an exchange. You'll see here, nice effort.
Oh, he caught that.
Okay, he caught it. So it did indeed bounce out of his glove, never touched the ground.
Yeah.
He caught it with his
bare hand.
And
then Downs is like, oh, boy, I got to get this throw off.
Yep, so either way it would have been an out.
A double play.
Yeah, they just don't get credit for the second one.
Nice catch. We'll step aside on that one. This is a sign of things to come. Game 1 already interesting of the day. Now game 2 with this fantastic bobbling catch. So 1-0 UTSA as we'll step aside. Welcome back to Greenville, North Carolina. Here's traditional weekend starter Braylon Owens. Gets the ball for UTSA. He's ready to rock and roll. 7 wins, which is in the top 10 in this league. Very effective staff. And now Owens will get the ball for the first time in his career against the Pirates, the senior out of Elgin, Texas. 14 career wins. He gives up a blast to Braden Burris to start this ball game, and the freshman gets a base hit. Braden's looking for 2, and the throw's a bit off. Touched the mitt of the second baseman, Maldonado, for a double.
Yeah, that kind of embodies Braden Burris right there. Look at 2 out of the box on a kind of a routiner, never even broke stride going around. Is going to force the center fielder Lytle into making a good throw. He gathers it, gets it around as quick as he can, kind of short hops the middle infielder there, and Braden Burris goes in, trying to get his dugout pumped up, and just shows you that they definitely are still playing for something. You know, it's the passion of the game.
Third hit of the weekend for Burris, and you're right, this is a game of who wants it. From a UTSA standpoint, things settled. From ECU standpoint, a lot of pride on the line here in Game 3. As Jack Herring, who hit the go-ahead home run in Game 2 before UTSA scored 5 in the 9th, works in a hitter's count. Herring the DH with 5 hits in this series. The switch hitters had hits all over the lineup, and here's Cliff Godwin's 9. Nearly a 6th hit there for Herring. And think back to Owens' last start. Nearly a complete game, 8 2/3. 2 runs allowed in another comeback win at South Florida to clinch that series.
Well, I can promise you UTSA would love to see him go that deep into this outing, as they too have been in their bullpen quite a bit this weekend, even seeing Orlowski 3 times.
I'd be surprised if he pitches again, but you just never know. As Herring chips one foul. Here's Cliff Godwin, 3 wins away from matching Gary Overton for the program's wins leader. His team thought he had one in the bank, but UTSA 5 runs in the 9th to come from behind. And now the 2-2 to Herring. Works a full count.
Owens takes a look at his shortstop, Hodge, back there, see if there's any pick play on.
Here's Owens' payoff pitch. It's a good miss, good take. 2 on, nobody out.
Owens takes a little look in the dugout again. The story behind the story, the game within the game, is going to be this this umpire crew. And you see the facial expression there, kind of laughing, but I just think that's that in and of itself is worth staying tuned in for.
Maybe the most interesting part of this matchup, how everything settles with the umpires. Here's Dixon Williams, the Greenville native, in his senior day. He graduated yesterday. He is a junior, but finished in 3 years.
Owens kind of having a tough time to this point, kind of settling into this outing. He's a little bit all over the place. It's not really what his numbers would tell you.
So the 1-1, missing away with that fastball a bunch today after Owens was so consistent down at Tampa. And already on the mind of Pat Hallmark, who's on my card for tonight? Who's available?
You know, it's one thing when you watch one of your guys throw, there's certain indicators that you're like, all right, he may or may not have it tonight. And I think some of those are already, maybe those indicator lights are going off for Coach Hallmark. And the biggest one would be the ability to locate the fastball. But you also have guys that labor through the first, settle in, and the rest of the outing goes kind of according to plan.
Good use of the fastball. Owens gets right back with a punch out.
So we'll see which way it goes with Owens, and that certainly helps his calls right there. First out of the inning. Just chasing the high fastball again. Not necessarily an overly well-located pitch. One that Dixon can't lay off.
So with 1 out, it's Colby Wallace's turn. The Pirate third baseman, 2 for 9 in the series. And he pops up the first pitch. Sadler coming in. Sadler hangs on. There's 2 away.
Another example of the position player bailing his catcher out, calling off the effort of the catcher, although I think Morrissey was there, but it's just an easier play for Sadler.
Morrissey behind the plate gets his first spot start defensively, and now Austin Irby, who's ditched the shades here on an overcast Game 3. Good block by Morrissey, the native of Macerta, Italy.
So they've got an Australian player and an Italian player.
Sounds like the World Baseball Classic with next year's tournament up and running. The U.S. and the Canadians are in a different pool this time around. That matchup of Ohtani and Trout in last year's 2 years ago's World Baseball Classic was electric in that final inning. So here's the 2-0 pitch.
Again, Owens in disbelief he didn't get that pitch. So to this point, it looks like we're going to have a little tighter strike zone from Michael Parnell, home plate umpire.
So the 3-0 will miss high and away. Now the bases are loaded.
At this point, it doesn't feel like Owens is long for this start, just from a control standpoint. Obviously in tons of trouble here with Riley Johnson coming to the plate and Pirates all over the bases. Some type of conversation there with the second base umpire Rick Allen and Owens on the mound.
A lot of people have had conversations with Rick Allen today.
No question.
Senior Riley Johnson hits with 2 outs. First pitch hacking. Homered in game 2. Tauzik can't grab that one. Back-to-back games with a bomb for Riley Johnson.
What a great story and a great day, one he'll never forget. Grand slam on senior night. A guy that only had 9 coming into the day and now has number 11.
The smallest man in the yard out hits the biggest guy in the yard.
Yeah, that one a big 4 RBI grand slam. Towsey goes back and gives a great effort in this ball. Actually, I thought for a second did he get to it, but just over his head and out of the ballpark.
6-6 with some great vertical, but not enough to keep Riley Johnson and Clark LeClaire. One of 2 home runs this year for Riley. The other came earlier today. Here's Roger Vergara getting the spot start. 5 hits on the year for the Pirates second baseman. Well, these last few innings between the 9th in game 1 and then the first today, there's been a lot of offense.
Yeah, a lot of runs scored. I mean, the Pirate pitching didn't really put the Roadrunners in a position to have to produce a ton of offense with the free passes, but there's certainly been a lot of runs scored.
Make it 3-1 as Owens just surrendered his 9th home run of the year.
I think the bigger deal, this is his 25th pitch already.
Now in a 3-1 count. Gets Vergara to chase out of the zone. Vergara goes left center. This will stay in the yard. And a third out for Detlefson. But Riley Johnson having himself a day. A little senior day doubleheader. Not 1 but 2 home runs. And this one a grand slam to put the Pirates in front through 1. Welcome back to Greenville. Here's a look at six-year head coach Pat Hallmark, who had some words for umpire Rick Allen in the first game of this doubleheader. Now, what Pat's done is built quite a resume in this sixth season. UTSA, a possible 2-seed entering the day. They played some good baseball here in the American.
Yeah, no, and they kind of ran away with this thing out of the gate, never looking back. And, Coach Hallmark, we've alluded to several times, old school guy and passionate and fiery, and his team reflects that. He's put together a nice club and done a great job in his time there at UTSA.
There's Pat working the third base line. We were curious if he was going to be part of the equation, but electing to appeal that ejection. So, 4-1 here in the second. And for Brad Zayak, a nice bit of cushion. He'll face the bottom four in this UTSA lineup. Ty Hodge, the shortstop. 2 hits in the series, with his brother Nathan also having the day off today. With Jordan Ballin's minor injury at second base, it's been a rotating cast. Now John Maldonado gets the start at second. Ballin has played in this series, but in a couple of pitch hitting roles. And there's strike 2.
So Zach thinking he got that one too. Again, it's a tight zone back there, so I guess all you can hope for is tight both ways. Fair zone, but Zach thought he had him one.
Another close pitch for Zayak, who went 3+ at Wichita last week. One thing the Pirates have seen is great depth from starting pitching this week. 5 for Hunter, 5 for Norby. Quite a swing there for Hodge. Zayak's 2-2. Works the count full.
Tell you what, both these starters throwing a lot of pitches. Zach kind of got through the first, first fairly efficiently, but 3-2 count here.
And a slow roller to Vergara. Moves his feet well, makes the play.
Kind of stuff like that will get you back on schedule. A little soft ground ball, easy play for Roger Vergara there at second base.
So Lorenzo Moressi, the pride of Italy. It's been a busy week in the Italian nation, naming a new pope, bringing an international product here to Greenville, North Carolina. The white smoke is alive and well. Pope Leo XIV, a Chicago native.
Tell you what, the first pitch from Zach very nearly got Morosi. Comes back in with another fastball down around the shins. Let's tell you a little bit about how they plan to pitch him.
Make it 3-0 to the patient 7-hole hitter. Moressi, the New Mexico junior college transfer, came over to the States after representing Team Italy in summer baseball this year. Grew up in Italy, moved to the States for college. And he hits the 3-1 hard pass for Vergara. There's a base hit. And Moressi's on for the first time today.
Yeah, you take good hitters and you continue to repeat and show them the same thing over and over again. They're going to eventually make an adjustment. And kind of tried to go away a little bit, but Zag misses in, and Moresi just kind of drops the barrel on it. Drives the ball past the diving Vergara.
Here's Cade Sadler earning the start at first base. He started the last 2 games. Sadler, another multi-transfer guy from Kennesaw State, then junior college ranks, back up here at UTSA, first year with the Roadrunners. Takes a monstrous hack.
Yeah, that was almost a swing in self-defense, that ball up and in on Sadler, and couldn't quite hold up. Kind of like he had his mind made up. He was taking a swing either way. And
towards his own dugout that time. Sadler's not afraid to pepper the yard. Oh, and 2 on Cade Sadler. Line drive base hit. 4th knock of this early going for UTSA. A top 10 hitting team in the country.
Top 3 of most coaches' list of things that drive you crazy are 0-2 base hits, especially when it is generous as Zach was here. That's a center cut, hanging fastball, breaking ball. Quite frankly, he's lucky that it wasn't hit out of the ballpark, but those are the kind of things that just drive you nuts. That's just pure execution.
Here's John Maldonado Jr. The starting second baseman, earning a rare start, just his 3rd career game for the Roadrunners, and first start. His first career hit was a double for the Kaufman, Texas native. That's why the OPS is 3,000.
You know, that's a nice thing when you're in the position that Coach Hallmark is with UTSA. You get some guys some opportunities that probably otherwise wouldn't get them. Maybe some of these guys are on a little bit of an audition for next year. And
Maldonado shows good patience there. The Grayson College transfer. Started his career at Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And this is John's first appearance since March 1st, so a chance to showcase what he can do. Showing a good battle here in his first start in 2 months.
Tell you, just looking at Maldonado's swing, I think the Pirates' idea is right. Stay away, stay away. He's super aggressive with the backside. You watch his back foot just kind of spin up. If he gets something in, I'm sure he could do some damage, but I think he's going to have a hard time handling anything out or third and off.
There's the idea. Pitch stays away. So now the 3-2 pitch. Runners break. Williams can't get there. Base hit. Maldonado's second of his young career with the Roadrunners, and it's a 2-run game.
Yeah, Dixon had just broken from behind, holding the runner on second base. And the second base, all these base runners for UTSA kind of use the vault-type lead and super aggressive out there second base. You see Dixon there just trying to freeze him as he gets back to try to play defense. That would still hit past the backhand. And we'll drive a run in. We'll bring Austin Knight out to have a chat with Bradley Zayak.
With the bullpen starting to toss.
Kind of start to wonder. We've been even back into the first game speculating on who may or may not be available for both teams out of the pen.
It's a busy week of games with obviously 2 today, 1 Tuesday, and then a Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. Kind of that minor league type schedule. All in pursuit of a conference tournament starting the following week. Here's Mason Lytle. Another hit today for Mason, 81 on the year. Wants an 82nd. This will stay up. Downs tracking. Downs, into the fence. Jacob Jenkins Coward-esque over there.
You know, there's pad on the wall, but there's posts behind the pads. So if you're fortunate enough to get between the posts, you're okay. If you catch one of the poles, it can be a little bit painful. You'll see here as he kind of bangs it, you see him kind of hop a little bit afterwards, and I wonder if he hit it right at that seam. And maybe that was more of a hop of I wish I'd have caught it.
A chance to retire one of the top hitters in the country, Mason Lytle, who turns this pitch around and gets a base hit. 2 knocks on the day, and there's RBI 60. It's a 1-run game.
And that's exactly what we saw Lytle do in the last game. Pulls the ball aggressively and drives in a big RBI in the last game to kind of get that thing going. Matter of fact, multiple RBIs, but he's a gifted hitter.
Not the biggest, not the strongest, but sure is he effective in the box. He's now just 5 hits shy of Dean Ferreira at Fairfield for the nation's lead in hits. And this might be a tactic to buy some time for the pen.
Evan, whoever was up is apparently hot, or they're not going to make a move because currently I don't see anybody throwing.
Good point.
Kind of interesting. They were just up and moving with a little urgency.
And then got the message to slow down.
And then, okay, they must be hot. Coach Godwin's headed out, and that will be the end of the night for Bradley Zayak.
Bradley goes 1 1/3. And it becomes a bullpen game here for East Carolina.
Much like we thought. Second inning, and we'll see Sean Jenkins.
We'll step aside for the pitching change. Jenkins enters when we come back. We've spoken a lot this weekend about the depth of young arms for the Pirates. Here's one of the top freshman recruits in the country, Sean Jenkins. Numbers may not say it, but his ability to make an impact could be huge. He went 2 2/3 last week, giving up 1 run against Wichita State, and now enters here for another freshman, Brad Zayak, in the second inning.
You know, another one of these guys that's seen, roles in kind of both starter and bullpen, and since his move to the pen, he's had some really good outings, but it's the 40 strikeouts to 15 walks, man, that's a really positive. just allowing a few more earned runs, than maybe you would like. But Sean Jenkins is certainly a big upside guy.
And now Jenkins faces a red-hot UTSA lineup, already 6 hits in these first 2 innings, including a Mason Lytle single to force the call to the pen. Here's Andrew Stuckey, who already has 3 hits on the weekend. He goes first pitch hack. That has been the common story in these first 5 innings for the Roadrunners.
No question.
And as the game gets deeper, the at-bats get better, which is almost counterintuitive. That's why the Roadrunners have a top 10 scoring and batting average team in the country. UTSA is bumped up to 18 in the RPI, a possible 2 seed if the year were to end this week. Fights that one off. The Roadrunners want to match what East Carolina has done in terms of 5 straight regional trips. A UTSA program that's won 30 plus the last 2 years, but this would be a chance to set a new program record with 40 wins tonight. A lot of the pieces in place. Good offense. Strong pen, enough starting pitching. And a take there.
Sean Jenkins, a guy that we've seen his fastball up into the mid-90s. More recently kind of in that 92, 94 range, but it's been a little better than that at times.
Did he go? No swing, according to Kevin Morgan over there.
Good job by Stuckey last 2 pitches. Good breaking balls from Jenkins, just off, but to take both of those.
A 3-2 battle out of the pen for Sean Jenkins. He walks him. Bases loaded.
And this is where we saw the Pirate Pen get in trouble in the last game, was the free passes, again, out of the bullpen. And it's just hard to defend against him, Ev. There's not a whole lot you can do if your guy gives a 4-pitch pass. You don't have to be a good hitter to draw a walk.
No walks in the first 8 innings for East Carolina in the opener of this doubleheader, but then walked 4 in the 9th. Here's Norris McClure.
McClure with a rope last time up. Basically right at Drew Downs in right field.
Nasty pitch, strike 2.
Yeah, really good offering there by Jenkins underneath the hands of McClure. So he's in charge at this point. Now he needs to find a way to finish McClure off.
That skips in front of the plate all the way to the backstop, and a run comes in. So it's 4-4.
Yeah, it's been the story of today's games as well. We go back to the first inning. Pirates in the last game, they score first, and the Roadrunners come back and answer, and it's just been score and answer all the way until the 9th, and that ball bounces significantly.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Barron stops that.
Yeah, I mean, that you got the turf there too now, and so it was kind of, I don't know, probably 2-3 feet in front of home plate.
McClure fights one off. He's extended the hit streak to 15 games. Look up and down this UTSA lineup. It's hitting machines in terms of getting on base. We're out hit, though, in the last 2 games of this series, but found a way to win. And now a blast into center. Room for Johnson. Riley with the catch, runner from third tags, and it's a 4-run inning for UTSA.
Answering the 4-run bottom by East Carolina. It's just funny how games get into these I don't say rhythms, but the symmetry. And we saw it in the first game until one inning, it was score and answer the whole time. See, Riley Williams goes back a little deep there, like he's got it a little sooner.
Did not fool the prepared runner at third and Lytle. So here's James Tausig, who nearly robbed Riley Johnson of a home run last inning. It's already 5-4 here in the second.
I know it.
So don't think this will be the pitcher's duel from a starting standpoint of yesterday and earlier today. This kind of has like a regional game 5 type feel. Every team's running out of arms. Winner goes to a region final.
Yeah, you may be giving a little more credit than it's to fill in. You got two teams on the opposite end of the spectrum. East Carolina fighting for seeding, and UTSA just kind of getting guys playing time, and quite frankly, fighting for things like records, in their own program and things like that. But you do have two prideful teams out here, and they're going to slug it out.
Here's the 2-1. A long inning between Zayak and Jenkins. Here's batter 8 of that frame.
Quality pitch there from Jenkins. You certainly don't want to get anything up in the zone to Tausig. Give him a chance to get those long arms extended. Down in the zone, at least you keep him in the park.
Right down the middle. He gets Tausig looking. And a quality strikeout to end an adventure of an inning. So it's 5-4 UTSA. Offensive battle continues after this timeout. Welcome back to Greenville. Here's what's cooking for the Pirates coming in. 15-13 at home. That's an area Cliff Godwin will certainly note heading into the offseason, how he gets better here in this ballpark, where the Pirates have averaged over 25 wins a year. But in a good battle on this weekend. Very competitive 2 games against UTSA. The challenge now as we enter the second, who can get outs for either team? Braylon Owens, who surrendered a grand slam, back to work. And he challenges Drew Downs to kickstart this second. Remember, East Carolina started 6-0 in the American Conference. They've been playing below 500 ball since. Right now, they'd be the 6th seed in the conference tournament with Rice just a game and a half back. Now, ECU did sweep that series over Rice.
Yeah, the way the schedule's set up this year for East Carolina, coming out of gate against 2 of the lesser teams of the conference, if you will, and finishing up with 2 of the better teams of the conference with UTSA and still having work to do with USF next weekend. But as we looked at it and when it first came out, you're like, man, that's a great opportunity to have a shot to control your own destiny with series with the Roadrunners and the Bulls there at the end of the season, but just hadn't worked out that way for the Pirates.
Good take from Downs with 5 hits on the year coming in, getting the spot start in the outfield today. The freshman had a carry, the Pro 5 Academy product. Ground ball to McClure, who has to bobble. Rushes the throw, and safe. Whether that was a pulled foot or beating the throw, Downs is on.
Yeah, that was trouble out of the gate. First bounce there again. We talked about it earlier. If I'm not mistaken, it skips the turf first. It does. Picks up a little more spin and gets underneath the third baseman, McClure. He kind of panics a little bit, and high throw pulling Sadler off at first base.
You know who would have caught that? Towsing. The 6'6" right fielder.
You're right.
Leadoff man on with the error. Here's a bunt, deadened in front of the plate. Throw to second. Tag. Downs is out on the tag, and Godwin frustrated.
Yeah, nobody was more surprised by that play than the second baseman, actually shortstop Hodge out there. You see it here, spins up a little. He fires it down.
Yeah, he never touched the base there.
He never touched the base, and he was caught off guard that the ball was coming his way. He was looking for it at first base. So the frustration there. And
I'm not sure the mindset of Downs in that situation.
No,
he runs off the base.
I think neither guy thought the ball was going to be there, so it was kind of casual. You know, it wasn't, I've got to get there and hold the bag. But, I mean, ultimately a good decision by the catcher to go that route. It's a good thing Hodge looked up, or that ball might have hit him right in the chest.
And then Moresi, who's getting his earpiece adjusted, made a nice throw. 1 to avoid the bat, and then 2 to put that ball in a spot to get the out.
And you're right, we saw a visual demonstration of Cliff Godwin's frustration slamming the play sheet down over there, and kind of one of those things again. When
as a player, you can control that type of play.
Yeah. Well, you know, I know he didn't expect that throw to be on him, but you got to get down there and hold the bag one way or the other, you know. But it's kind of, when it goes south, it's just going south and won't stop. But a lot of baseball here. And
yeah, good teaching moment for everyone watching at home. So Burris, who doubled his first time up and scored, part of that 4-run first inning for the Pirates. Now goes opposite field, 2 hits, 4 in the series. Well, the bats in this game have come to play, both teams.
Yeah, and there's your kind of insult to injury. You know, if Downs is on second, he most likely scores there, or at least has a shot at it. Good swing here by Braden Burris.
So Jack Herring, who had a red-hot Game 2, now slots in after a walk here to start Game 3. Herring takes a really good slider inside. Braylon Owens, he's a workhorse, and he'll give up some high run game. This is not a guy who's going to hold teams every night, but his ability to work deep is a weapon here for UTSA. He's gone 7+ 4 times in American Conference action. He's had some high games, 5 runs, 4 runs, but keeps his team in it.
You know what, though, in the days of college baseball, a 5-run game is, you know, it's not, I mean, it's not an unmanageable run total as UTSA has demonstrated, averaging 8 runs a game.
Yeah, he pitched 6 in the 3rd innings in an 18-13 win.
I mean,
so there's a lot to that.
Yeah, stay in there.
Both bullpens that are pretty taxed, given the game last night and then part 1 earlier today. 3-1 count to Herring.
And that's the thing you see with Owens to this point. It just, you know, kind of seems to constantly fall behind guys, which runs up your pitch counts and all the other things. That also makes you have to throw, you know, pitches where you don't want to throw them because you're not in control. So And Jack Herring trying to make him pay right there. He was looking for something that he could drive, and actually Owens made a pretty good pitch there, and Herring not able to get the barrel on it.
Here's the 3-2 and a little look. Oh, that hits Herring.
No, Baird.
Oh, pardon me.
Yeah. I don't know which was worse. He got hit in the back with the baseball and hit in the face. It looked like the face with the glove.
One of those throws where you throw it to a spot, and sometimes your guy's not at the spot.
Or another guy is in that case.
So now the 3-2. And he gets the strikeout. Braylon Owens, his second K.
It just slips that fastball by Herring. Off the plate maybe a little bit. Quality pitch, though, and one you certainly can't take. Talking about the symmetry of the game, if the Pirates were to plate one here, the scoreboard would have that look, 1-4 and 4-1.
Dixon Williams hits one to the deepest part of the park, and that goes out of play into the parking lot.
It always makes me nervous when that fan that's on the rail, that's on the wall, wants to lean out a little bit in an effort to try to catch up on my look, man. It's just a baseball. Let it go. It
makes me think of the Pirates situation earlier this week.
I mean, think about it.
Hopefully that fan's okay. And that's where netting down baselines has been so impactful at the professional game, keeping fans safe. Williams takes strike two. Williams left center. That stays up enough to be tracked down by Detlefson. So a 5-4 slugfest. We'll take a break for a moment. UTSA to the plate here in the third. Here's where UTSA sits nationally. That RPI is entering the weekend. It's up to 18 now with a couple of wins here in Greenville. And if you're UTSA, a resume that keeps getting better and better. And as we know, this time of year, sitting on that 2 line is so important. And now the matchups become a factor as the couple of weeks here unfold.
Yeah, you build all year or spend all year building a resume, and then it comes down to the last couple of weeks for exactly where that thing pans out and where that takes you. So UTSA's put together a nice year. I mean, if there is a chink in the armor of the schedule, it is the strength of schedule. But there's only so much you can do about it when you have a conference you play in.
Right now it'd be a one-bid American Conference. We'll see how it unfolds in the tournament as Detlefson grounds out to third.
I said it in game one, but Colby Wallace does a great job of creating good bounces. You'll see on this one he comes forward. The one in the first game he took a back step or a drop step to create the big hop, but nice job coming to get that ball and makes it look easy.
Ty Hodge pops one out of play. And that slider will dip down. Let's see if Sean Jenkins can work a clean inning. That's been hard for any Pirate pitcher.
In either side tonight.
Especially in this game. First 5 innings in the opener of the doubleheader. What Hunter and Miles were able to do was really go back and forth with zeros. Easier said than done when two of the higher scoring teams in the American do battle. There's a big pop-up for Hodge. Walker Barron can't squeeze it.
I'll tell you what part of that was Irby's footsteps on his back. So you heard him make the call kind of late, but even up here in the press box, and we've got headphones on, you could hear Irby's feet trying to break it down. He's coming as hard as he can trying to bail his catcher out. But as he tries to stop, clip, clip, clop, you see it and he turns around and looks. It's still, although you know you called that ball and you were demonstrative in your call, there's still a little bit of doubt in the back of your mind. Am I getting ready to get run over by whoever's coming in full speed behind me? So
another pop-up.
Yeah, we'll get another try at it.
Okay, let's see if we learned our lesson. Not even close, and a catch.
And you see what Irby did. Stop
just
way shy of it. Yeah, so, those are nearly identical pop-ups. So you couldn't do any better than that in practice. But you'll see.
Yeah, coaches try this with fungos for a living.
Yeah, pitching machines. This one does kind of rattle around in Barron's glove, just a little bit. But you see the smile, and Irby's like, hey, man, I'm nowhere near you. I heard you. You got it.
I'm just here for moral support. 2 outs for Alonzo Moresi. Lorenzo noticing the changeup there for Zayak. It is interesting as hitters when they pick up on trends you don't always see in scouting reports. First time these two have faced.
Jenkins has a nice repertoire. It's been a matter of kind of mastering it and, again, growing into this role as a Division I college pitcher when, he actually was eligible to return to high school this year, but a guy that they certainly look forward to watching grow up. Teammates with Braxton Tremble, who's out for the rest of the season with an injury, but both of them playing at Fred T. Ford High School at Hickory.
So the 3-1 is chopped foul. Here's the 3-2. Good positioning there for Williams. And his arm gets the job done. 3 up, 3 down for Sean Jenkins in the third. A rarity in this ball game. We'll go to the bottom half.
We call it drive. The unrelenting desire to become the person you were born to be. Ignited by a moment. The realization that a future you could only dream of is within reach. At East Carolina University, you won't just imagine a path. You'll forge one through hard work and the success that comes without surrender. The journey that leads to your future. And this is where it begins.
There is only one way to win. It doesn't have shortcuts. It's a spirit to outwork, outsmart, and outlast the competition.
Catch me if you can.
It demands boldness, grit, and guts. It says we can, and we will. It's what separates us from the rest. There's only one way to greatness, and that's the American way.
Here's where Cliff Godwin sits in the East Carolina all-time wins mark. Just 3 shy of the record, and that might accomplish here in the next few days, next few weeks, depending on how it unfolds in the conference tournament. Right now, though, a lot to play for here in this 3rd inning. And now Cliff Godwin's club, who had that big grand slam in the first, look to replicate some of that offensive success. Colby Wallace kickstarts the inning and swings through a slider from Braylon Owens.
Tell you what, bud, that the flag is about as still as you'll ever see it at Clark LeClaire.
A little hitter friendly then?
Absolutely no movement at all. Well, you know, a little heavy air tonight. It's a little humid. Some rain in the area. I think it's.
Don't say it.
Hopefully.
Not in this area.
Correct.
In the general area.
In the general area. in eastern North Carolina.
In the viewing market.
I'm sure there are folks that are watching that are going, yeah, it's pouring at our house, just looking at what we've looked at with the radar.
The map is interesting right now, but the field looks good. Back-to-back, good breaking balls. Wallace to center. 1 away.
Interesting sequence there with Owens. Breaking ball, fastball up, just entices Colby to swing at it. Hart didn't quite get on top of it. And line out to Lytle in center field.
So with 1 out, one of the hottest hitters in the Pirate lineup, Austin Irby, slots in. He's been on 5 times in the series.
Yeah, if you look at the 280 batting average, it doesn't do respect to the game he had last game earlier today, where had 3 or 4 barrels, balls hit hard, just nothing to show for it. Not but I guess 1 knock on the day, but 3 or 4 really good trips to the plate.
Very patient take. A lot of times for these coaches, they're trying to figure out who they can trust in the postseason, mixing and matching lineups in the last 2 weeks. Irby showing a good swing there. Tausig, full extension. That 6'6" frame coming up huge.
And that's another one. Irby hits that ball absolutely on the button. Tausig takes a couple steps and not even quite a dive. It's kind of a couple steps and a fall forward. Puts his glove up and, yeah, just Irby's been the tough luck guy today for sure.
It's been a busy afternoon for Tausig. Here's Riley Johnson up with 2 outs in this 3rd inning. Riley's had a monstrous day from home run standpoint.
Yeah, just a double short of the cycle there in game 1. Grand slam earlier here today.
That back foot starting to bother Riley a little bit.
Yeah, you wonder how long he could stay in the game. You know he wants to. It's all pure guts, but
I think Cliff's even asking him as he's walking in, how's he feeling? Leaning on the senior who's just returned from a handful of injuries in the last 2 weeks. His 11th start tonight. Riley's going through it.
I will tell you, too, that changeup first pitch that was thrown and Riley kind of takes a big aggressive hack. Those are the kind of things you hurt yourself on, especially if you're dealing with, shoulder, elbow, hand kind of issues where, you fail to make contact with anything. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully he stays right in. But if not, he's certainly contributed his part for the day.
Full count. So Johnson on the ground. He's got some good wheels, and Owens covers in time.
Tell you what, that was a really good play all the way around. Sadler to range over there and get to it. Owens covering to beat Riley Johnson. Really good play by UTSA.
Owens wins the foot race with the speedster Johnson. It's a one-run game through 3. Welcome back to Greenville. Meanwhile, in Raleigh, that's new full-time head coach Blake Harrell sounding the siren for the Hurricanes as they gear up for the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. That game's scoreless. Not the case here, but Harrell looking in his best Hurricanes attire. That siren, when they start rocking it back and forth and shaking on that platform, pretty neat experience.
What a cool thing for Coach Harrell to get to do that. And great exposure for the program. Go Canes.
Playoff hockey's fantastic. And that series evened up at a game apiece. Sean Jenkins threw a scoreless third. He'll look to master that in the fourth. Against Cade Sadler, 8-9-1 in the UTSA lineup. 10-game win streak now for the Roadrunners, and a big swing there. Last loss April 18th against Tulane. And here's UTSA winning 14 of their last 15 games. I know from a metric standpoint the numbers are good, but also having a great record entering the tournament's important when you're from a selection standpoint.
Oh, absolutely. Play right at the right time and, kind of hot into the tournament.
Is chop foul.
Tell you what, Sadler is going to get his money's worth every time he gets off a pretty good hack.
Did he go? We have not seen many appeal strikes on those check swings today. Let's see if that holds true.
Big leg lift gather. If you're going to do that, you better be able to stay over that backside.
That's a leg lift, a leg hold, and then a hard swing to third. Wallace plays a strong hop. And he's been excellent over there at third.
Yeah, Colby's been super consistent all year, playing a really nice defensive third base. No problem with this one. It's pretty routine for him.
There's John Maldonado Jr. We noted his first start in a UTSA uniform tonight. He's played a couple other games off the bench. With a rotating cast of characters at second base here in the closing month. And he went, so it's 0-2.
Yeah, really different, kind of a non-traditional lower half as a hitter for Maldonado. You see even on the takes, really, no, I don't know any other way to put it, but spinning on that back foot.
He does create a lot of torque from that back leg. That's a good call. And Wallace busy over there at third base.
Another routiner for Colby down there.
Even the kids in the outfield getting a sense of, hey, there's 2 outs. We're echoing the signals from the players. Such a neat perspective for this community that loves baseball here in Greenville.
Tell you what, he buckled Lytle with that one. Some quality hitter at the plate.
A third chance for Colby. And he shows off that arm that can touch 94 on the bump. Good throw to end the threat. That's 6 straight retired for Sean Jenkins. We'll step aside here after 3.5 in Game 3 of this series. You know, the more I see these projections, the wonder every week how it changes back and forth, right? You may play your best baseball down the stretch. UTSA currently, we'll see how it goes next week, but predicted as a high 2 seed paired with the 116 pod. Good news for UTSA, they have played Texas this year and beat the Longhorns in Austin. But the tough part is, who's your matchup in the 3? And we see Kansas State with the big series win over West Virginia. Teams can get hot and cold at certain times. And there's strike one. You think last year a team like Wake Forest, nobody wanted to see Wake in their bracket, and they go 0-2. And then certain teams you don't want to see get hot. It's just the nature of college baseball.
No, it's nature of baseball, period.
You have teams who struggle down the stretch like Florida 2 years ago, last team in, and win the national title. Like that is how this sport works. Here's Roger Vergara taking strike 2. That's rocketed to center. Lytle covers a lot of ground out there, one away.
Yeah, he, like I said, I mentioned earlier, he's kind of the UTSA version of Riley Johnson. A solid defender, great leadoff guy. Although Riley's not in the leadoff spot tonight, but a guy that can run around, play the game, and is just a lot of fun to watch.
Lytle at that size and that productivity is the all get everything out of you guy, and I think Johnson's on that same list. Get the most out of their frame. Here's Drew Downs now slotting in. Both pitchers have settled in here between Braylon Owens and Sean Jenkins. Adventures in the first 2 innings, much better since. Changeup that time.
And a good one. We've seen Drew Downs get off a couple pretty aggressive swings as well.
So here's the 1-1. The music operator, we've seen obviously a lot of baseball today, but they have stayed very busy with changing up the tunes. So Downs jolts one to left. That's going to stay in the yard. 2 away.
You know, explosive offense early, man. It looked like we were going to have a football game here for a little bit, but it's come back to earth, just a touch. Not seeing any runs scored the last couple innings.
August 28th, not too far around the corner. Pirates opener at NC State. And a hard hit ball for Walker Barron.
Walker put together a nice season, and again, just an Iron Man behind the plate and been back there the lion's share of the innings and still finding ways to contribute offensively to his club.
So top of this Pirate lineup, 2 hits already for Braden. You mentioned that. 4 in the series. And he's the kind of guy, if you're Cliff Godwin looking to the future, he could build a rod around his productivity in this freshman year.
Yeah, and a lot made of the story about, Braden being from the same hometown as Cliff. And Coach Godwin actually played with his father. And, a boy, Braden has come in here and made a name for himself.
Slow roller should end the inning. Another quality defensive day for UTSA. So a scoreless 4th for Braylon Owens. We'll go to the 5th. Welcome back to Clark LeClaire Stadium. I think that clock's a little off, but that's okay. 7:40 here in Greenville. A long day of baseball with this doubleheader on tap. We started around 2 o'clock. With Mike, I'm Evan. A good bit of Chick-fil-A to keep us fueled and ready to go between games. And despite the fact we played almost 6 hours of baseball, there's still a good amount of fans shuffling around the park tonight.
Yeah, kind of a surprising number, quite frankly, for the afternoon, not to mention you have graduation, lots of things going on this weekend. So, but yeah, still a good crowd here. Perfect evening for it.
This would have been more on time frame with what the original schedule anticipated. 4 o'clock, then moved up to 2 with a doubleheader. And here in the 5th, halfway through this game 3, Sean Jenkins works against Andrew Stuckey. Andrews walked and struck out tonight. And don't be fooled by the rip in his pants. He's an old school player, making the most of every start. Getting the wear night off behind the plate, but still an impact at the DH spot. Wallace again. How about 4 straight outs at third base?
Yeah, and that may be the best of the bunch. Nice play there. Step to the line and smothers it. Ball's hit pretty firm down there. And he literally just kind of smothers that thing and comes up firing, knowing that he's got the catcher DH Stuckey running.
He's putting on a defensive clinic at third base today.
He really is.
Jenkins has forced 6 ground ball outs. And a ton of them have headed Sean Jenkins' way. Here's Norris McClure. Norris, who's 0 for 2, looking to preserve his 15-game hit streak. This ground ball will go right to the middle of the defense, 2-away.
Well positioned. This is that's a pretty good example of the shift giveth and the shift taketh. With Dixon Williams playing basically right behind second base, maybe a step to the shortstop side, and a little chopper hit right to him.
So what have you liked here about Sean Jenkins as he's retired 10 straight?
That he's retired 10 straight. Throwing strikes, you know what I mean, though? I mean, it's the throwing ground balls, soft contact. It's not all about strikeouts. For the most part, working ahead of guys. Just like that, he comes in, hey, first pitch, fastball, boom. Now he kind of controls where he can go from here and go back to the bottom of the zone with something soft and see if he can't get one more ground ball for his guys behind him.
It works ahead 0-1 on James Tauzik. Make it 0-2. And playing to the aggressive nature of UTSA's bats.
Sure.
Because given how hard it was to get outs for either team early in this game, I liked what Owens and Jenkins have adjusted with.
Yep.
Sean likes this call from the pitch comm. It's interesting when you shake off a catcher and there's no sign being communicated.
Right. Shake it off the dugout.
Yeah. It's the modern way of getting those signs in. You see the catcher there, Barron saying, here we go. Here's what's being called. Let's do it. Jenkins likes this one. Here's his 1-2. And he gets a swing and a miss. Walker will apply the tag, get a little jog down to first to end the inning. 11 straight retired for Sean Jenkins. And we're halfway through game 3. The American Baseball Championship, May 20th to the 25th, right around the corner in Clearwater, Florida. Watch all those games on ESPN Plus and the championship on ESPN News. Tulane, the two-time champs, come into town. And the way this tournament's gone, being a one seed's not always the automatic trip to a championship. We'll see how it unfolds for UTSA number 1 seed. ECU right now would be the 6th seed. A tight game once again, this time game 3 of this series. 2-3-4 with Jack Herring getting things started against Braylon Owens, who's on 70 pitches. A fairly taxed UTSA pen. As all 3 starters have now pitched into the 5th.
Owens really has done a nice job settling into this team, kind of getting back on schedule with his pitch count, sitting at 72 here in the bottom of the 5th. So after the first, you know, you've been a little concerned if you were in that UTSA dugout, but he has managed to kind of find it.
Owens 2 walks, 2 Ks tonight. He's lived in the zone. Forces weak contact that drifts out of play. Owens 1-2. We have a note that since we showed you that graphic of Coach Harrell, the football coach at ECU, the Canes have scored twice. Some call that good luck. So they're about to hit the 3rd period after the intermission.
Maybe we need to get one of those sirens here on campus for him.
Well, that'd be neat. I think that was caught on the line.
It was.
So there's one away. Finish your semester finals, you ring the siren, everyone goes home happy. Dixon Williams also celebrating his senior day tonight. Pre-game festivities after the first game, or before the first game. 3 for 11 in this series for the Greenville native.
That pitch right there is the pitch that has allowed Owens to settle into this outing. His first pitch, fastball, get ahead, great location, kind of outer black.
Forces a pop-up for Williams, got underneath it. And there's the second out.
You know, but when you can do that as a pitcher, again, it opens up, you know, all of your arsenal. And you kind of force the hitter to swing at your pitch, which is exactly what he did there with Dixon. I mean, let's face it, if pitchers didn't make mistakes, hitters would never get hits, you know. So it's one of those deals where as long as you're dictating the tone, you have a chance. But the reality is pitchers do make mistakes.
2 outs for Colby Wallace. And Owens has lived in the zone with first pitch strikes. Where in the first inning, he had to navigate through 2 walks and then the grand slam.
Quickly ahead here of Colby Wallace, 0-2.
Owens wants a new baseball. Braylon searching for a 1-2-3 inning. He might get it right here. Ground ball to second. Cleaned up by Maldonado. We'll go to the sixth. What started as a slugfest has turned into a bunch of zeros ever since. Welcome back to Greenville. It's been an entertaining weekend. 2 games decided in the final at-bats, and UTSA now leads the series 6-3. These clubs might possibly meet in the tournament, too, and given the history of the last 2 years, could be very entertaining. So now we slide into the 6th inning, and Sean Jenkins looks to continue putting up good innings.
Yeah, let's see if he can keep throwing ground balls to Kobe Wallace and just sit back and enjoy the clinic that Kobe has provided down there at the hot corner.
Another first pitch strike.
A rarity to see a road runner hitter lay off a first pitch strike.
Make it 0-2. If you're Cliff Godwin, you have to like the way Sean Jenkins is thrown out of the pen.
No question about it.
A fun battle brewing.
Yeah, good 0-2 offering there. Just enough to tempt Detlefson to take a hack and foul it off.
Drew Detlefson continues to spray off 0-2 pitches. He's 1 for 10 in this series, but that doesn't tell the full story. And the fastball goes up and in, so Jenkins adds to his K totals. That's 3.
Yeah, we've talked about solid sequences, and that definitely was one. Starts him off in, changes eye angle, gives him a couple pitches he could only foul off, and then finish him off with the fastball up and in.
I loved your nugget, too, about Jenkins reclassifying. Such a young prospect that's putting up great innings tonight.
You know, and in respect for the UTSA hitters and knowing that they like to be aggressive on fastballs or first pitches either way, he's opened the last 2 hitters up with breaking pitches.
This is Ty Hodge, who's 0 for 2 today, as Jenkins is living in the zone. If East Carolina could get this version of Sean Jenkins in the next month, that could be special. just in.
Get a little grunt from him there. He reached back and tried to grab a little extra.
It was 5-4 top 2. It stayed the same since. And now a ground ball to Dixon Williams. 2 away.
I wonder if Colby's a little offended. Like, Sean, did I do something wrong, man? Ground ball hit the B, man.
I've had 5 of those today. Can I get a few more? 8 ground ball outs forced by Jenkins. Not much hit hard either. Lorenzo Moresi, first pitch hacking. And as a pitcher, if you live to the scouting report of a hitter, keep pounding the zone, that can be effective. You know what UTSA does well? They are a swing-happy offense. Score 8 runs a game coming in. This might stay in play. Oh, that's a fair. Yeah, it's a fair ball.
Yep, fair ball. I think he fielded before it had a chance to go foul. And
smart play by
Irby. That's right.
Keeping the defense involved. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. Nice defense for the Pirates right here. A good pitching night for UTSA once again. 3rd straight starter to go 5+. And Braylon Owens, you see the big 4-run spot. That was in the first. But ever since, Mike, a changed man on the bump.
Yeah, no, and if you remove that, really it was one swing and some free passes prior to that. But if you remove that frame, he's been really, really good, as has Sean Jenkins on the other side since he came in relief.
That sets the stage for this bottom of the 6th inning in a getaway day, game 3. And Irby, Johnson, and Vergara slated in. A lot of lefties in this part of the lineup. Just one man to reach base the last 3 innings for East Carolina. And Irby grounds into a deep shifted second. Maldonado with time. And as Riley Johnson digs in, what a day and what a night for Riley.
Yeah, no, I mean, you couldn't have drawn it up any better for a guy that's such an impactful part of the program. He's going to have a chat here with Coach Galvin before going up, and you can watch him walk, Evie. I mean, it's gingerly at best. He's gutting it out to stay in, and not sure exactly what that conversation was. Could have been a lot of different things. But, yeah, the 2 home runs, 1 a grand slam. missed the cycle in the first game by just a double, and you see the deep breath and the reset mentally and get ready to battle through yet another at bat.
Riley closing out his home career this week. And maybe tonight, depending on weather, Tuesday, a fun Senior Day ceremony pregame.
You know, in the day where the senior that is raised in your program and ultimately graduates from your program becomes more and more rare, to have guys like Jake Hunter and Riley Johnson have done that is really impressive. And not to mention, you know, Dixon Williams, but him being an early graduate and being honored tonight in senior night obviously tells you he's looking to move his career forward, hopefully in the professional ranks.
A senior class at East Carolina has been a part of 3 regionals, a super mixed in, and a ground ball out here 2 away.
And that's something you do not see out of Riley Johnson, was that right there. Kind of carries the bat halfway and just not quite the spring in the step to get out of the box. We've always seen him run those balls so hard, although it's pretty much a sure thing, but as far as the out. But you can tell he's beat up. He's given all he can.
And a player who would not want to take himself out unless something is very serious.
No.
It's not the way he's built. 2 away for Vergara. With Alex Boucher having this particular game off. Played in the earlier game. Good swing there, but out of play.
You know, knowing how much Coach Godwin appreciates guys like Riley Johnson and what, you know, he specifically has meant to the program, it would not surprise me if the decision to lift him would be him to enter center field and then take him out where he could kind of get the curtain call from the fans that are here, because, again, he's if anybody's earned that right and those accolades just with not only – what he's been through physically, but his style of play, the way he's played, the contributions that he's made, it would be a guy like Riley Johnson.
Hard hit to short, and both defenses doing a fine job since. We'll go to the 7th here in Game 3. We got a 1-run game. Welcome back to Greenville, North Carolina. A lot of scoring early, not as much lately. And now in the 7th, nearing the final week of the regular season. Kids of all ages having a blast. They don't care what the score of the inning is. Kids that like peas. I didn't expect that.
I was just saying, was that a like edamame? Is that
like edamame.
They were interesting.
Credit to that mom for feeding children healthy veggies. Everyone bundling up. Slightly chilly tonight, 67 with some breeze. Here's a ground ball to the new shortstop, Alex Boucher. And that throw scooped out, one away.
Yeah, welcome to the game. You get a fairly well-barreled ground ball your way, and Boucher's game handles it and collects the out at first base. So that will take Roger Vergara out of the game with Dixon Williams moving back to second base.
Everything else the same defensively for the Pirates. And here's Sean Jenkins cruising right along in his 5th+ inning of relief. And a rare 1-0 count. John Maldonado, the 9-hole hitter, up. Add another to that story, rare 2-ball count. With the bullpen lightly tossing. And now a chat with Pat Hallmark. There's the noted defensive change for the Pirates with Boucher starting the day off. Good response. Jenkins 5 innings now with a plus attached to that. No hits. Just 1 walk. He's been really efficient. After Brad Zayak goes just 1-1. Big swing and a miss. 2 away.
Surprised everybody, including Walker Barron, that he caught that baseball. That thing had some serious action on that all-speed offering. And
who put that there?
Yeah, I don't know if that was fouled into his glove. Let's see here if we can pick up on it.
Ooh. And the angle there to hang on to it.
He kind of caught the side of that ball.
Maybe the ball caught his glove.
Nice play by Walker Barron.
Adding to the strikeout totals. And there's another first pitch strike. Mason Lytle now a 7-hit series. This guy's a hitting machine. Well on his way to earning AAC Player of the Year honors.
Yeah, the first and second inning felt like an extension of the last game, and now it almost feels like since the third we're playing a totally different game with 2 different teams.
And it's all been due to starting, or pitching for that matter, throwing strikes. Here's our veggie fan.
I didn't know they sold those at the concession stand there.
I'm used to like popcorn and hot dogs, not edamame. Healthy. Fair ball.
Fair ball.
3-hit day for Lytle. What else is new there? He wants 2. Good throw, but just late. And the 19th double for Mason Lytle.
Well, so much for the no hit since Sean Jenkins came into the game. It's amazing how that works. I don't understand it, but it certainly seems to happen. Lytle here just.
Look at that ball. It started foul and then stays fair.
Yep, got the spin off the turf and just retraces the line. Drew Downs gets over, but Lytle's such a good runner.
Do you think with dirt, I know that's an angle of how it swings. Does that ball stay fair?
I doubt it. I doubt it. It's still going to be really, really firm up there, but, you know, it is a different bounce coming off turf.
Definitely modern turf is about as dirt-like as it gets these days, which is important. Great for field maintenance, too. Andrew Stuckey now up.
You know, the big part when you see these ballparks with the wings, especially that are that are turf man, it opens up so much more area for drill work, things like that in practice. And if you ever come by an East Carolina baseball practice, man, they'll have bunting stations, base running, all over the place, utilizing that turf for far more than just maintenance or aesthetics.
Quick work for Sean Jenkins in the 7th. It's time to stretch. One-run game continues. That's a great line for Sean Jenkins. We'll see if his night continues. But after the game, the way this game started, impressive in the last 6 innings.
Yeah, you go 5 2/3 of one-hit baseball and only 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. I mean, he has had a really, really good night. I mean, congratulations to him. I know it's something that, he's put in a lot of work, started off as the Saturday starter as the season kicked off, and has kind of bounced around. And again, another one who's had some starts and been out of the pen, but that's certainly a confidence builder.
Drew Downs kickstarts the 7th. Here's Braylon Owens with back-to-back quality starts. Goes 8 innings at South Florida, now into the 7th tonight. And then the bullpen starts to warm up here for the Roadrunners.
It'd almost be a shame to see either one of these guys come out of the game because they have pitched so well. It's been enjoyable to watch both of them.
It's nice to see coaches give confidence in their pitchers to go deep as well. Part of that by necessity with the depth that both teams have.
Well, and when you have guys that are throwing strikes and throwing soft contact or, at least reasonably soft contact, it keeps your defense engaged. It keeps the fans. The rhythm of the game is so much better.
Make it 3-1. There's a walk, and the Pirates' first base runner since the 4th inning.
I just can't imagine there'd be any question other than do they hit and run here or do they bunt? But I got to feel like they're going to do something, and obviously I think the most natural thought process would be Walker Barron would lay down a bunt, although he's had some really good offensive at-bats tonight, but get that runner in score position and try to tie this thing up.
That bunt goes foul. It's one thing to draw it up on paper, then to execute it becomes a task. Another bunt attempt.
Maybe a slash here.
Slash. That puts the fear of death into McClure's eyes over at third base.
Yeah, but when you're trying to execute the slash, you're looking for the middle of the field. So, I mean, pitch is going to be accordingly, but or the swing is going to be accordingly, so you probably lay off that inside pitch. But you're right, it's very uncomfortable standing that close to a guy with a metal bat.
Deadens the bunt right to where the third baseman was crashing. Good play for the first out. And it moves Downs into second.
Good job by Sadler to get down and get out of the way, because he's a big body over there, but he thought more over it.
Yeah, watch Sadler hit the deck right here.
As McClure comes and gets it, and Sadler's right in the throwing lane. You got to think this is the guy that you want at the plate. If if you could pick one to put up there as hot as he's been, Braden Burris with 2 hits already on the night.
It's reached base 6 times in this series. And the freshman dazzling at the right time of year. Takes a first pitch strike. Both games of this series, ECU's had chances to tie the game in the 9th inning. How can they do it here in the 7th with the effective Braylon Owens?
Again, that's one thing, and Burr is such a good runner, but that's one thing that this Roadrunner defense has to do is respect the fact that at any time a Pirate hitter could lay one down.
Make it strike 2. A loud shriek in the stands. Maybe it's 6 hours of baseball getting to people. That one's fouled away.
Or they could have just figured out that the concession stands are no longer serving adult beverages.
They were capped out for the night. Or maybe worse, tapped out for the night. Tying run at second here for the Pirates in the 7th. No swing.
See, Owens knows he just yanked that pitch. And I saw him earlier in between innings, and he was out there going through the motion with his breaking ball, trying to feel himself, really kind of get it out front, and just kind of hooks that one, snatches it over into the left-hand batter's box.
Slow roller. Good play by Owens, 2 away.
You know, that's PFP practice. That's all the things you just rep it so often that it becomes automatic. And you got a green runner at the plate and, in Burris, but you can't panic. Just gather yourself and throw a strike to first base.
So it's Jack Herring's turn with an opportunity.
And that'll bring Coach Hallmark out. Probably will be the end of the night for Owens.
Quality outing, 6 2/3. And a conversation here for Pat Hallmark, who works with the pitching staff pretty exclusively.
Now, the way he's talking there, it doesn't look as though he's having the conversation about coming out of the game. It looks like it's more about be aware of all the offensive options here and the things that East Carolina, the way East Carolina strikes fear into teams' hearts with, doing non-conventional stuff and non-conventional time. So that could be more of this conversation than anything about coming out of the game, because home plate umpire's going out there to break up the party. And that's exactly what it is.
You see options warming in the UTSA pen. That's Christian. Got to double check this name here.
Okerholm, maybe?
Okerholm.
Yeah, Okerholm.
Yeah. The Charlotte transfer.
And Gunnar Brown just getting up beside him. 34 and 35.
Double barrel. And here's Jack Herring, who walked his first time up, 0 for 2 since. Having a red-hot series here for the Pirates. And I love the confidence here of Pat Hallmark leaning on his number 3 starter. So many times we see teams overthink this and go a million options out of the pen, leaning on a strong starter who falls behind 2-0.
All right, little action pitch here for Herring and Owens.
Way outside.
Yeah, breaking ball's just getting away from him. He kind of lost the feel for it a little bit. Some of that probably having to do with the nearly 110 pitches he's thrown.
Owens right at the edge of being subbed out. We'll see how he can handle this.
Got to imagine Herring's going to take a pitch here. Be really surprised if he swings.
3-0. Red light and ball 4. Now at the corners with 2 outs.
And Owens chewing on that glove out of frustration, looking in the dugout.
So Williams is slotted in. Let's see what Coach Hallmark decides.
You'll put him on?
Yeah, an intentional walk.
We'll put him on and set up the force everywhere and pitch to Kobe Wallace.
So Wallace will take the same bat that Dixon just used and now get a chance to swing it. Kobe Wallace is hitting a mean 750 with the bases loaded this year. 3 for 4. Gets a chance here in a 1-run game.
They've been fairly successful in getting Kobe Wallace to pop balls up today. Let's see if that figures into what they're thinking.
Nice snag behind the plate.
And that ball 1 pitch just pushes the chips over towards number 10 for the Pirates.
Pitch 111 for Owens. Strike 1.
It's quality comeback pitch to get back even, especially in the situation.
Here's the 1-1. Another nice snag by Moresi.
You know, if you're Kobe Wallace and the East Carolina offense and Coach Godwin, you just, hey, Kobe, deep breath, man. Again, not trying to do anything more than just good contact, have a great at bat, compete the whole time.
The 2-1. Got the corner. Deep into the night, Owens is locating late. A lot is asked of this number 3 starter, Braylon Owens.
You see Kobe Wallace just adjusted up in the box and up on the plate. I saw Coach Godwin kind of give him the wave, kind of, hey, move up, and he did just that, trying to take away the breaking ball from Owens. It's already struggled. Because I will tell you, if he can get a hanger here, if he can get that breaking ball that just sits there and spins, Kobe could hit it a long ways.
Here's the 3-2. Right center. Tausig with space. And that stays in the yard. Pirates strand the bases loaded. And here's Braylon Owens, his longest career outing in a UTSA uniform. Keeps ECU off the board. Here's what's cooking tonight. Game 3 of this series, wrapping up a doubleheader. Starting pitching has been good. 0-7 innings. And then Jenkins came in early in the game, but his last 5 2/3 dazzling. But another example where both teams have had chances. Bases loaded threat stranded in the 7th. And now UTSA hits with a 1-run lead.
Yeah, I got to feel like it's going to be a short leash for Jenkins in this inning. He's been out there for a while now and got a couple guys up playing toss in the Pirate pen. But Sean Jenkins, what a great night he has had to this point. Let's see if he can keep this UTSA offense quiet.
Easier said than done. Highest scoring team in the American Conference, and Norris McClure, a non-traditional 3-hole hitter with just 4 home runs, but he's hitting almost every spot in the lineup this year. Works ahead in the count.
And I tell you what, every time he's come to the plate, Kobe Wallace has come in to take away the bunt, respected his speed and the ability to get it down over there.
There's a base hit. That rifles in the right field. And then is bobbled. It gets past Downs. This could be 3. McClure turns on the Jets, and he has 3 on an odd mistake by Drew Downs.
You know, it just conjures up ghosts of the past. Go back to the Wichita State series in East Carolina, had 2 errors, 2 drop fly balls in left field, 1 on each corner, and you'll see here, I mean, the ball struck firmly, and that's all well and good, but clearly Drew Downs has to play that ball cleanly. Riley Johnson coming all the way over from center, allowing McClure to get to third base, and unfortunately, well, I don't know. We got Austin Knight coming out. Coach Knight's coming out to have a conversation. Typically, he doesn't make pitching changes, but
and that's unfortunate too, because that's probably a single that gets
that's
elevated
all that
by
is.
some mistakes.
That's all that is. And now you got a pretty easy RBI opportunity at third base with no outs. Anything can score him here. You know, I imagine that they'll have to make a decision on where they play the infield, but it opens up so many things. You could squeeze. I mean, there's just so many things you could do with no outs. And not to mention, you've got your 4-spot hitter and Taussig coming to the plate. And they're going to stay with Sean Jenkins.
A lot of trust in Jenkins in this spot. He's earned it. 5 2/3, just 2 hits. 2 pitchers have already appeared on the weekend. DiLorenzo and Williams warming.
So the Pirates will bring the infield in. Decision has to be made by UTSA if they're going on a down contact situation, or will the Pirates have a chance to check them and hold that runner at third base if there is a ball hit on the ground in the infield. Taussig, on the other hand, man, he's looking for a ball up, something he could elevate, get into the outfield.
Neither of these 3 arms are overpowering, so should be able to score on a pop out if it's deep enough. The 1-1.
You know, the thing that scares you if you're East Carolina when you're facing a guy like James Taussig is if you elevate the ball at all, which is kind of what he would like anyway. If he did, it may not just land in the grass. It may land, you know, on the practice football field, a guy with the juice he has.
Taussig hit his 9th home run earlier this weekend and beats the shift, pinched in. So it's 6-4 on the beneficial error, and now UTSA up 2.
You know, and that's the tough part when you bring the infield in. It opens up so many gaps, and you know, Irby doing all he could, kind of a step and a dive, but Taussig just drives that ball through. Is, you know, really just trying to roll the ball over, and he does just that. It shoots through out to right field, and the run scores.
There's a bunt. Jenkins. Tough throw, and that gets away. Both runners advance as Downs hangs on to it. And this inning's starting to unravel here for East Carolina.
Yeah, and that was, you know, again, Jenkins does a good job of getting off the mound, getting to the ball. But we talked earlier about panicking and things speeding up on you, and you'll see here he just kind of never really gets his feet into the throw, and not a whole lot Irby can do about that one down there. So now you got runners second and third with no outs, and this thing could get away quickly if you think about what UTSA has had a reputation of doing.
And there's a walk to load the bases intentionally.
So it removes some of the guesswork. You got to force out everywhere. So, 4-1 and 4-1 being, you want to get the runner at the plate and relay to first base for a double play would be ideal if you're a Pirate.
Infield remains in for Moresi. He swings in a bit late.
Kind of a surprise to me that the coach Godwin didn't make a move here just based off of, the history and watching it, how the season's gone. But he feels like Jenkins gives him his best chance.
Popped out of play.
Yeah, and that's the one Moresi would want back. That was a pitch that was something that could have been driven into the outfield. He'll try to get back under his hands again here. I'd expect a pull side ground ball if you get a ground ball.
The 1-2. Opposite field line drive. That's deep enough to score one. Burris makes the catch. Both runners tag. And that throw just a bit off, so everyone's safe. It's 7-4.
Yeah, he just didn't get that pitch where he wanted. A little too much elevation, a little too much over the plate. You'll see it here. Just kind of center cut, maybe just off center cut and up. Moresi able to do his job. So UTSA in a first and third offensive situation. You saw Walker Barron there put on the defense for the Pirates, but let's see if UTSA kind of stays gassed down here and tries to find a way to force another one across. This may have bearing on whether or not UTSA sends their guy back out to the mound. I can't imagine they would at such an elevated pitch count, but who knows?
A thought of a squeeze bunt.
Yeah, that was kind of the one I was thinking. They may go to a little safety look there, and worst case scenario, you end up with runners at second and third. Best case scenario, they would collect the out at first base, but UTSA would be able to plate another run.
Another bunt. That'll stay foul. The cat and mouse game of trying to manufacture offense for a team that scores 8 a night.
And so far in this series, they have been on their average in their time here in Greenville. Pitch up and in, nearly hit Sadler.
Good fastball, 2 away. Runner breaks late. Pump fake. Now a rundown. Wallace to the plate. That's it, inning over.
Yeah, that was the first and third effort they took. They run the kind of delayed still there, and their runner strays too far from third base to collect the third out.
Nice job by Walker Barron to deke the runner, and we'll go to the bottom of the 8th.
There's only one way to win. It doesn't have shortcuts. It's a spirit to outwork, outsmart, and outlast the competition.
Catch me if you can.
It demands boldness, grit, and guts. It says we can, and we will. It's what separates us from the rest. There's only one way to greatness, and that's the American way.
Welcome back to Greenville. That closes out the line for Braylon Owens. 7 innings of 4-run ball. And here's Gunnar Brown out of the bullpen for UTSA. The Sam Houston transfer getting his first season. And another part of the bullpen, 8 different relievers with 20 more innings. There's a lot of options for head coach Pat Hallmark.
Tell you what, if you would tell Owens that he was going to give up a grand slam in the first and then leave the game with a 3-run lead, he would probably think you were crazy. But gives way to Gunnar Brown, 7.71 ERA, well-traveled pitcher, and another one of those guys, like you mentioned, that they've got a ton of guys they're not afraid to use.
So Austin Irby leads things off.
Now it's all about base runners for the Pirates. Just find a way to work your way on. Expect we may see a litany of fake bunts at some point trying to draw balls.
There's strike one. Had a big rally in the 7th, but left the bases loaded on 3 walks. And then 2 unearned runs for UTSA in the 8th have padded a little bit of cushion. A program in UTSA that was in the top 25 in the country in K to walk ratio, typically a strike throwing machine out of the pen. Today walking the tightrope, 5 walks, 2 Ks. And a walk starts this inning.
You bring that guy back to the plate, number 12.
Riley Johnson slotting in. He's had a heck of a day, and another opportunity for Riley to prompt the comeback. And here comes Coach Hallmark with a bullpen warming.
I would assume this may be an opportunity for Coach Hallmark to offer his pitcher an adjustment, but he may have seen just enough already, knowing that the free passes have created chaos both ways, as they normally do. Got a player down in front of the East Carolina dugout, Keenan Bowman, doing somersaults.
We also have a call to the pen. So our guy Christian Okerholm will enter after this quick spot check. We'll step aside for a pitching change here in the 8th. There's Christian Oklahoma coming in, the Austin, Texas native. A quick change, one walk and a quick reliever from Brown out. Oklahoma in, the Charlotte transfer. His first outing since last weekend, inning in 2/3, gave up 3 runs against South Florida.
Yeah, you see the numbers there, 3.47, very respectable ERA. Only 2 walks, another strike throwing Roadrunner. I think Coach had just seen all he needed to see and wasn't going to allow the East Carolina Pirates to get free passes to get themselves back in a position to take the lead in the game. So I'm going to guess Oklahoma, not having seen him, I'm going to guess with that arm slot, kind of right off the shoulder there is going to be a guy that's going to sink the ball, and they're thinking, hey, let's get a ground ball here for a chance to turn a double play.
The aforementioned Riley Johnson slides back in. And what could be his final home game is definitely his final home weekend here in Greenville. Ball 1. And I think we found who the yeller is. It's that kid in the purple jersey, front row.
Okay. Having a big time, getting his money's worth.
He's also got a paper airplane in his hand. Oh, there he is. Another miss.
You know, unfortunately, he's correlated his yelling with the lack of success for the UTSA pitching, so therefore,
he thinks
by default, he's the reason. So that means we'll have to hear that. Vandy has the whistler, and we have the screaming young fella.
We have the yeller. Well, the yeller gets quieted there on strike 1.
Well, in his mind, he just didn't yell soon enough, so he's going to give it a little more gusto this time. His buddy's saying, all right, get ready to start your yell. Fill your lungs.
Yeah, I need you right now.
Yeah, we're going to let it rip. Oh, double yell.
Ooh, ball 3. Uh-oh, you just inspired a trend here,
Here
Mike.
they go.
Having the night of their lives.
Look at us. They look like they're straight out of The Sandlot, like the movie The Sandlot.
I'm not sure they've seen it, but I enjoyed it. And then they'll be teenagers and their voice will drop like 5 octaves.
Right.
Wait for it. 3-1. There's strike 2.
Oh, they're both frustrated, forgot to yell.
Oh, the attention span of being 9 or 10. Again, the senior Riley Johnson sparked the youngsters. Maybe he can. A walk. So now the tying run comes to the plate in the defensive replacement turned shortstop, Alex Boucher. Six home runs in Alex's season. Gets an opportunity here in the 8th, and he'll get subbed out. So Cliff Godwin going to his bench again. And here's Michael Kalinich. Going left-right in this spot. Kalinich, who pitch hit in the earlier game today.
Be interesting to see how they realign defensively now with Boucher out of the game. I would think Burris would come in and maybe push Dixon back over, and we'll see a substitution in the outfield potentially.
There's strike 1 to Kalinich, and this crowd's not pleased.
Now, here we go. The umpires are getting involved, and Coach Godwin's going to let them know about it.
It was Rick Allen in the first game. It's Michael Parnell hearing it tonight.
We waited all game for this, Ab.
This was the intrigue that got me signed up for game 3. And a foul ball.
Oklahoma slipped there coming down the mound.
Just 2 appearances at Charlotte last year for Oklahoma's. Made a living here in San Antonio out of the pen. Working on 25 innings of relief. See the numbers for Kalinic, one of 20 freshmen on Cliff Godwin's roster, getting a pitch hit at bat here in the 8th. And a foul ball. The 1-2 goes right back towards those screaming kids.
Yeah, big swing there by Kalinic.
Pirates stranded the bases loaded in the 7th. They're inching closer here in the 8th. And the 1-2. Got him chasing. One away.
Drew Downs with the ultimate shot at redemption here. If he could make the magic happen, he could help himself to forget about that snafu out in right field.
As Downs in pursuit of his first RBI of the season.
You can tell, you see there, well, actually we got a shot up of Drew Downs. The pitcher, Okerholm, is asking where that pitch was. He thought that was should have been strike one.
There's ball 2 with action warming in the UTSA pen.
It really feels like UTSA is kind of limping right now on the mound, kind of limping their way into, almost like they're wishing this, to happen, as opposed to staying within and kind of taking the fight to the Pirates.
On a bounce, it sneaks through. Base hit Downs, runners hold. Still one away.
And I will tell you something to watch, and I picked up on it in that delivery. Okerholm is very, very close to balking. Base hit, nice base run in there, no other choice but to retreat. But I don't know if maybe the first baseman said something, but he was very, very close to not making a definitive stop in his mechanics.
Another opportunity for this young lineup. This is the sophomore catcher, Walker Barron, who's played all 3 games on the weekend.
Now batting for the Pirates.
Back-to-back innings with the bases loaded. Slow roller, diving stab in the mitt of Hodge, 7-5.
Hodge could not get it out of his glove. A great job to get there. Really awkward angle, kind of laying on his stomach. No chance to get that out of his glove. And again, Riley Johnson's down with hopefully it's just a cramp, but he went into third kind of hard. But Drew Downs doing a good job of getting there quickly to second base. You see it there, just a little slip. Riley had made a turn at third, just a very slight turn. Shortstop comes up, and Hodge and takes a look at him on kind of a backside out, and Riley goes down.
Checking right behind his knee there.
Yeah, the way he's stretching it kind of leads you to believe maybe it's some type of cramping. But nonetheless, and again, we talk about it, and I think it merits about a 10-hour broadcast talking about everything that kid's been through just to be able to be in the lineup. But him fighting through today, and I'm sure in Coach Godwin's post game, whichever way it goes, he'll have nothing but high praise for the effort that Riley's given. You'll see it here as he so often does, takes the turn just a little bit, little slip there. Yeah, I think that's cramping.
Got a couple of Gatorade cups in between pitches. And another shot for Braden Burris with runners on. He grounded out to the pitcher his last time up. 2 walks, 2 singles in the inning. Strike 1. 3 straight games where UTSA's bullpen has walked a very dangerous tightrope. The bats saved the Roadrunners in game 2. And here's Burris, 2 for 4, hitting in the leadoff spot. Takes strike 2.
You know, it's Burris with 2 knocks on the day. He hits the balls hard, and gosh, you know, you sure would like to see him be able to get off a good swing in this situation, but he's got himself in a 2-strike hole.
The 0-2. Base hit. 2-strike approach. There's 1. Downs holds, 1-run game.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of feel like, again, I just want to give him a chance, you know. If I'm managing the club and potentially he did that on his own, I don't know, but he delivers either way. Good 2-strike swing, and he's had a great day in both ends of this thing.
3-hit game for Braden Burris. And now Jack Herring can put his Pirates in front as this 8th inning starts to snowball. Remember, UTSA's top reliever, Robert Orlowski's pitched in the first 2 games. Connor Kelly's already thrown. Oklahoma, the next highest inning. Gunnar Brown's pitch. Really, Sam Simmons and James Hubbard. That's kind of it in terms of arms the UTSA trusts. Here's Herring. And there's still possibly 5 outs to get.
You know, as much as this thing has changed sides, I mean, the Pirates certainly have not quit fighting through this game.
Strike 2. Good changeup. An energetic Saturday doubleheader comes down to this 8th inning. Christian Okerholm on 0-2. Got him swinging. Good squeeze from Moresi.
I think Jack Herring was hoping maybe he would get the benefit of the doubt on a potential foul tip, but I don't think it was even close. And good job again by Moresi to trap that ball, keep it in front of him. Now a guy that they walked earlier comes to the plate, and Dixon Williams with 2 outs.
He was walked in the 7th, the hometown native on his senior day. Graduated yesterday, gets a chance to put his team in front here in the 8th. Williams the other way. Detlefson with room. That'll do it. The Pirates have stranded 9, and we go to the 9th. A 1-run game continues after this break. Welcome back to Greenville, a game of runs. And now a one-run difference as we enter the top of the ninth. ECU stranded 3 in back-to-back innings. So now, on short rest, back-to-back nights, Jackson DiLorenzo enters out of the Pirate pen. D'Lo was pretty effective yesterday. He went 2+, gave up 3 runs in that final inning, and now the sophomore looks to maintain this one-run deficit.
Yeah, you see it there. The number that concerns you is the 21 free passes in 20 and a third innings. So he's had almost a tale of two seasons inside of this season where he's had the struggles, but he's had some really good outings as well, to your example of last night. But inherits a big situation here to keep his Pirates close by. And you said a game of runs, and that actually plays in 2 ways. Yeah, there have been runs in bunches, but then runs of zeros as well when the pitching was so dominant there in the middle of the game.
When Sean Jenkins and Braylon Owens are really rolling in the middle innings. Here's strike 1, the 9-hole hitter, John Maldonado. It was the 9th inning in the first game. UTSA scored 5 and came back to shock the Pirates. Here searching for insurance in game 3.
And that's the pitch you worry about right there on short rest is he's got to have that little slider breaking ball. And, you know, and you've already made an appearance. You've gone through all the rigors of warming up. You've had the emotion. Can you find it to get the arm speed up and, you know, get that pitch into the zone like you need to do if you're Jackson DiLorenzo to be successful? That's a pretty veteran move right there. Stand off, reset, deep breath, and now you go back at it.
Here's the 2-1. That's fought away. Getting a little sleepy in the jungle tonight. What, 7 hours of baseball today?
Yeah.
I don't blame them. But still plenty to play for here in game 3. Just in.
DiLorenzo definitely wanted that pitch, but not awarded the strike. Be a big deal to get the non-spot guy.
Misses down and a leadoff walk. You noted the walk issues, about 1 per inning for DiLorenzo.
You know, and again, the bad side here is you just walked a guy that is not had a ton of ABs this year. He's not a guy that you're necessarily fearful of to get to the top, where the guy that you should be most fearful of, you bring him to the plate and light him.
And a special pitch runner comes in. Diego Diaz will enter. You noted Lytle with that 3-hit game. He's been a hit machine here for the Roadrunners. Now top 5 in the country in total hits. And Lytle with his 5th 3-hit game.
And that'll bring Coach Godwin out.
And I think DiLorenzo's night is done.
I'm going to guess it's going to be Williams down there. I can't quite make it out, but we did see him loosening earlier. Quite honestly, I don't know how many more moves that they would have. I mean, I guess fresh-wise, you still have Young. I don't know if they feel comfortable turning him on short rest, but it appears it is Lance Williams.
So Williams comes back in. This will be his 2nd outing of the day. And we'll step aside for a quick change. 1-run game. Bullpen continues here in the 9th. Second appearance of the day for true freshman Lance Williams, who recorded 1 out in the earlier game today. You do wonder how Lance will bounce back. The good news, he only threw a handful of pitches, and now he'll look to close out the entire 9th inning here with a 1-run deficit.
You know, it's more about when you bounce a guy back like this, it's more about, okay, where are they mentally, how long were they down there in the first outing to get loose? What did that workload look like? And again, just the mental side of ramping yourself back up to get ready to go again. So we'll see how Lance handles it. He is a older freshman, big arm, good stuff, in a big moment here against a great hitter.
Mason Lytle takes a slider for a strike. Mason's putting the finishing touches on a 6-hit series. And Lytle ropes one to right. That'll stay in the yard. 1 away.
Yeah, that's a big out. Now you're in a situation where a ground ball double play could get you out of the inning, and you've got a guy in Stuckey, again, the DH catcher, not the fastest guy in this UTSA lineup. So if you could get a ground ball here in the middle, you have a chance to get out of the inning.
Stuckey struck out twice, but he did walk in this game. A Pirate staff, it's only walked 3. That was their bugaboo in the first game of this doubleheader. And Irby almost gets crossed up on that pickoff.
Yeah, I actually feel like he may have sold that a little more than it was, seeing if he could catch the Diaz over there straying.
Runner bluffs. There's a strike. Does set up in the bottom half, the heart of the Pirate lineup, with Colby Wallace kick-starting things if the score remains 7-6. Well, fastball's humming tonight, 0-2. .95.
Yeah, he's got big velocity and that hard breaking ball to go with it. It's punch-out stuff for sure.
As he gets older and finds that third pitch, he'll be dynamic. Already having a really good freshman year. Popped up. Second out. Williams, the fourth arm, with Zayak going inning plus, Jenkins 6 and 2, and then DiLorenzo just the walk. There's Norris McClure with 2 outs. UTSA with a win, if they hold on to this game, would be a program record for wins in a season with still a week to go. First regular season title since 2008 as part of the Southland Conference.
We've seen McClure hit a couple balls hard tonight. Dangerous count here for Lance Williams.
Big swing, 2-1.
Yeah, McClure was thinking, I'm going to try to do some damage here for sure. He gets off a big one. I'm going to guess at this point he's going to have to hit Williams' slider.
Goes back to the Cheddar, 2-2. 3 straight scoreless outings for Lance Williams, who actually also pitched 1 out on Friday, so it's his 3rd appearance of the series.
Very dangerous hitter on deck.
2-2 from the freshman Lance Williams.
Nice job by McClure to continue the battle in the AB to foul that pitch off.
Another 2-2. Got him a chase. Good relief inning for Lance Williams, and this sets up a do-or-die bottom of the 9th. UTSA on the doorstep of a series sweep. Pirates want to spoil when we come back. Setting up the last game of this series in the last inning, possibly. UTSA on the verge of a sweep. East Carolina wanting to hold firm in a tight race in the American. Seeds 2 through 6, well up for grabs. And back-to-back innings, the Pirates have had the bases loaded. Not able to capitalize just yet. So Christian Olkerholm continues his work in the UTSA pen. In terms of options, there aren't many left. So Christian might have to tough this one out as he goes out for his 2nd inning of relief.
Yeah, Oklahoma a little bit shaky in that last inning, and again, kind of had the feeling that they were kind of limping through it with Oklahoma, and got Gunner out there for a minute. Didn't work out for him, so we'll see what the Pirate offense can do against Oklahoma.
Here's Colby Wallace to kick things off, and he takes one inside.
It seems like we've said it both games now. All the Pirates are looking for base runners, just opportunities.
Good response for a strike.
I think at least at this point it probably will be maybe just for Colby if he could get on base, but seeing a pitch until a strike's thrown.
As we enter the final week of the regular season, which club can squeak out a win here tonight to close out the series? Now it's 2-2.
Yeah, he wasn't going to throw that anywhere near the plate. I know that was obviously much further than he wanted to go, but kind of trying to tip Colby away. Snatches it in over to the left-hand batter's box.
Back up the middle, and the Pirates have the tying run on first.
Tying run on first. Irby at the plate. Riley Johnson on deck behind him. Yeah, you got to feel like this is one Coach Godwin's going to try to give Riley Johnson a chance to score that run by getting Colby Wallace into scoring position. The last thing you'd want to do here is ground into a double play.
Irby squares. McClure crashes, ball one. A Pirate team that's top 10 in the country in sacrifice bunts. This is in the DNA of Cliff Godwin. No bunt, big swing, 1-1.
We'll see now if it's back flush, if he goes back to it.
That bunt hits Irby. It's ruled a foul ball because they hit him in the box.
You'll see it here. He shows a needle clearly. Yeah, it just kind of bounces right back off of his chest.
So here's the 1-2. So many chances late in this game for East Carolina to win it. The 2-2 works the count full. Good battle brewing.
You know what Oklahoma just did the Pirates and Irby a huge favor. I mean, that pitch, not even competitive. We talk about competitive pitches, and you got to be around the zone. I know, obviously, you know, you're in a 2-2 situation, didn't have to necessarily serve one up, but that just resets AB, and this becomes a one-pitch at bat. Just hit what you see if you're Austin Irby.
Payoff pitch. Popped up. McClure tracking.
He dropped
Lost it. That ball always comes back to the field, and McClure didn't recognize it.
Yeah, that effort over there with McClure, you know, he rushes over, never really gets himself in a good position. A good position will be kind of having your back turned to the infield a little bit more than that, as that thing's going to spin back, and see Cliff Godwin giving way, and McClure never really like he had a shot at that. And the last thing you can do is get your feet still when you're trying to catch a pop-up like that.
New life for Austin Irby.
Those are the things that normally end up haunting you.
It'll extend the at-bat, that's for sure. A top 20 RPI club in UTSA. Come back in game one in the ninth, trailing. Now trying to hold on in game two in this final game of the series.
I would be really surprised if Colby Wallace was put in motion even 3-2, but at the same time, I'm not sure exactly how surprised.
Another foul ball.
And the reason I say that, there was a lot of conversation down there with Coach Palumbo after the signs were given by Coach Godwin, just little things that you kind of look for. Coach Godwin talks about what an X factor Coach Palumbo is over there at kind of getting the guys to understand, you know, what the thought process is in the moment.
Fun battle brewing here in the ninth with a pickoff.
A little changeup over to first base.
Action warming in the UTSA pen. Christian Olkerholm in his second inning of relief. Yet another 3-2. Popped up. This one out of play.
Yeah, I didn't know. You know, earlier in the game we had the double pop-up foul ball basically in the same spot and gave Walker Barron a second opportunity to catch one. I didn't know. I was like, man, no way we'll see that twice in a game.
Pitch 9 of the at-bat. Outside. 2 on, nobody out.
Boy, great take there by Irby. It just seemed like it was a little too close to take with 2 strikes in the situation, but the umpire agrees with him, and Irby takes his free pass.
And here's the aforementioned Riley Johnson, senior, in his final home weekend. An opportunity to play hero after blasting home runs in the last 2 games.
God, what a difficult spot here. I think there's going to be a pitch runner here. Probably Alex Peltier will come in and run for Austin Irby at first base. And it is Peltier. And, you know, Riley Johnson's your best bunter. He's had a great weekend, so you like to give him a chance to swing the bat. But, man, with no outs, you get that runner to third base or those runners both in the scoring position. With only 1 out, you have to like your chances. And again, nobody handles the bat better for this Pirate club than Riley Johnson. Second probably is Braden Burris.
First pitch swinging, foul ball. Johnson, who battled some cramps earlier tonight when he was at third base, hit a grand slam in the first inning, took pictures with his family pregame. A lot of emotion for the senior in his final home weekend. Here's Oklahom's 0-1. Bunted fair. Sliding play. Fantastic throw. And now Johnson's down with his other leg.
Yeah, and I don't think there's any question they're going to have to get him out of there. And I still think it's cramping. I hope it's cramping anyway. But that's just him, man. He laid it down, did everything he could possibly do to beat it out, and you see him grabbing the calf there. And when you see that toe flexed up like that, it's normally a pretty good indicator that it's some type of cramping, or at least maybe that's what I'm hoping for his sake. This is about as quiet as you'll ever hear Clark LeClaire Stadium.
Giving it literally everything he had and needing some water here.
You'll see a great job of getting the bunt down, and Oklahoma bouncing off, doing all that he could. Riley Johnson just giving it all he could. And the thing you tell your players not to do is take that big lunge into the bag. It's a great way to really, really seriously hurt yourself. But Riley Johnson knows no other way than full tilt, and you watch him here. His legs are almost like, you see a marathoner at the end of the marathon that can't quite make it to the finish line, and that's kind of what he gives you. And what a cool gesture here with the UTSA players coming out to help him off the field. That from something that was so chippy earlier, that's high class and great sportsmanship.
Great to see John Maldonado chipping in.
And you saw, the other one was a starting pitcher from tonight. That's pretty cool. You see the tears.
The family's recognizing Riley giving everything he's got on his senior day.
As many games as he's carried now to be carried off the field.
It's been an emotional day.
Yeah, I guess is it fair to say an appropriate ending? I mean, to what he's been through. And
that bunt sets up second and third now. Let's see how Pat Hallmark handles this meeting.
Yeah, a lot of emotion, and emotion affects both teams, right? They both have witnessed what we all just witnessed, and one of the cooler moments in my time in sports, and I've had one other opportunity to say that, Ev, sitting up in this booth, and that was watching Parker Bird get his first collegiate at bat. So both of those moments are very meaningful and something I'll never forget. But we still have a ball game that has to be finished, and it's a big moment. Riley Johnson did his job for his club, as he so often does, and they would love nothing more than to deliver for him.
James Hubbard, Sam Simmons warming in the pen just in case. And here's Davin Whitaker coming in for an at-bat. Infield in for UTSA. Chance to sweep the series. Okerholm on his shoulders. Way inside.
You know, so many factors here, second and third, one out. Davin Whitaker, not the most high leverage bat that the Pirates have. But, man, the pass ball scores one. There's so many ways, so many things that can happen to squeeze one across for the Pirates here.
The 1-0. Base hit. Whitaker does the job. Pirates walk it off on Senior Day. An emotional doubleheader leans on the youngster to put the game out of reach.
You know, that's what it's all about right there. I mean, you know, UTSA wins the conference. They win the series. But the Pirates, I literally have, I feel like this is more about the fact that Riley Johnson did what he did to get those runners in scoring position, and this team was not going to be denied in that situation. You know, just such a big moment. But congratulations to UTSA for winning the conference. Heck of a game here tonight. There's still a little chirpiness, unfortunately, between the coaching staffs, but it is what it is. We saw some cool stuff here today.
Final home weekend of the regular season for East Carolina, and that was an emotional way to wrap things up. Whitaker the winner. And we still got a week to go in the regular season. Fun stuff here in the American. That's the game-winning base hit. Pirates split the doubleheader. UTSA wins the regular season crown. For Mike Mullis and our great crew, if this is the last time we talk to you on ESPN Plus at home, thanks for joining us. I'm EvanBudrovich, our great production staff, led by Kyle Williams tonight. We'll see you next time. Pirates win it in a walk-off to close out the series.